Usually whenever I give a hot take, I give my think piece on something, I know the real issue that Wuthering Waves has as toxic of a community, where you have a large abundance of viewers migrating to Zenless, and they're not watching from a supportive standpoint. It turns into like this giant, let's milk it for a week, or let's turn it into an argument or a war or whatever, right? It's seen as like, because it's from me, it's bad. So lately, the same things that I've said about each and every game that I've played, Wuthering, Star Rail, Zenless, not so much Genshin, I don't talk about Genshin, but the same thing that I've said months ago about these games is now coming into fruition, and more people are starting to see it. And now more players and creators are starting to either openly or privately discuss these things. The thing that I want to talk about is how I mentioned a long time ago, and this summer, and in the spring, this spring literally, and then again, somewhere like late last December, something like that. I've mentioned this 3 to 4 times this year alone, that the problem with new players coming into the game, the problem with like how the players perceive the game right now, is that they look at it in a way that is, here's where I am, so this is how I see the game, and this is where we are. It's there's a word, not disconnected. It's a D word, I think.
One eternity later.
Out of touch. You know what? Let's go with out of touch. That's a synonymous phrase we can use, but we're out of touch with the new player experience in all of these games. Okay. So in Star Rail, a new player is not worried about beating MOC. And we constantly push that agenda when it comes to Star Rail in particular. Hey, you can't beat MOC, or this is you need to set up for beating MOC. You need to set up for doing this. And my last video, not my last video, but like I think 2 videos ago, something like that, we talked about, what was it? Pure Fiction, and how I feel like, due to what I've experienced with Zenless and how they're lining up the game, and then version 1.4 of Zenless is going to prove everything that we've been talking about with Zenless. We as in me and my bubble. But outside of that, what I'm getting at here is Star Rail is showing us Pure Fiction, Apocalyptic Shadow, simulated / divergent universe, and MOC are all forms of endgame that should be treated as such. And we've been putting so much focus on only MOC that the other things are equally just as fun or challenging or should matter. Where a new player, it's impossible, almost impossible for them to prepare for everything. So now we get into like, oh, pull Acheron. Acheron is going to be the #1 thing for you to pull. Pull Firefly. Firefly is going to help you clear everything in the game. Oh, the new Fei Xiao. Pull Fei Xiao. Fei Xiao is probably like, and we'll talk about Acheron and Aventurine here in a bit, but I think Fei Xiao is like the biggest new player bait. Not because she's bad. This is going to be a really hot take. Fei Xiao is a goddess in the game. She's like #1 character in the game. Right now, she's #1 character in the game. Pulling Fei Xiao and then telling someone like, get Fei Xiao, it sets you up. No, because in order for you to succeed with Fei Xiao, you need the rest of her team. It's not just her. And that's what I've always explained about that character. The difference between Fei Xiao and Acheron is that while both of them share similarities in their strength, they're both powerful single unit characters. Each of them require a team to bring out their maximum value, or like the best potential, right? Fei Xiao is easier to pilot, right? Easier to control the team, easier to learn and use the team, but you still need the team. So when you're looking at this, let's say I was taking this from a free-to-play perspective, and I'm going to go with Fei Xiao. Well, Robin's already gone. Boom, you don't have Robin. And somehow you got Fei Xiao, right? So let's just say a new player has Fei Xiao. What do you use instead? Asta? Okay, I guess Asta can work, but you're really not taking advantage of a lot of the things that you would want from that. So whatever. Let's move on from there. Who else do we have in the game? March 7th. That means you have to get basically to 80%, right? 80, 85% throughout the game to get to March 7th. For the free version, the hunt version, you got to complete a solid chunk of the game before you can even start to really utilize Fei Xiao as a team, right? As a unit on a team, you got to complete almost 80 to 85% of the game, which means you need something to carry you from that. Fei Xiao is not the character to carry you from level 1 to in game by herself. You need something else, right? So that's already disillusion, if you will, happening right there. Then you need your sustain, who's going to help you with follow-up. Now, you don't get a free sustain, right? You can use Gallagher, I guess, but Gallagher is not really going to help Fei Xiao in the same way that Aventurine would help Fei Xiao. And then you also advantage, you mentioned Mose. Mose is great, right? You have to pull Mose. He's not free. So looking at it from a new player perspective, you can't really recommend get Fei Xiao and then like you're set, you're good to go. And that's what new players are looking at. They're hearing all of the, or Linksha, right? Or Linksha, which you have to pull for. They're constantly hearing, hey man, follow-up attacks. You got to get that. Build follow-up attacks, bro. Just build super break. It's the easiest thing in the game. Just get this. Just get this. Why are we not teaching them how to play the game as a team? Like use this team so that you can get from point A to point B and then carry whatever it is. And this is without me even mentioning the whole like vertical investment thing that I always talk about, right? It's just a disconnect. Fuck, didn't I say that earlier? Whatever. Anyway, there's a huge disconnect between current day players and what they're advising newer players to do, or, you know, like players getting into the game, whatever, because we can see it. There's stats the same way that we can see that there's like 1,000+ people installing Genshin every day or some bullshit number, whatever. New players are jumping on the Genshin every day. And then if you look in your comments, any of my creator friends, I guarantee you they have like at least one comment per video of some guy saying, yo, I just got into Star Rail. Thank you for making this video. Or I just got into Star Rail and I've been so confused. Or I just got into Star Rail. Here's who I have on my account. Who do you recommend I should pull? I just got into Star Rail. I have this, and this. I'm free to play, by the way. I don't really know what to pull for. Should I get the weapon or should I save my primos, my Stellar Jades for a new character? And we may or may not respond, but usually the community responds. And when the community responds, they always say the same shit. Oh, bro, just get Fei Xiao. Bro, just pull Acheron. Acheron's almost here, bro. Just pull Acheron. You're good. You're set. Just get Acheron, bro. You can't do that. I mean, you physically can, but we should not be doing that. We shouldn't be doing that, bro, because we have to teach them more. Like, okay, get Acheron. Cool. That's step number one. What do you need after that? Right? Because a new player is not going to have, on average, right? They're not going to have Robin. They're not going to have Bronyer. They're not going to have Sparkle. They're not going to have Acheron. They're not going to get Sunday. And they're not going to have a Venturine or a built out Gallagher to help them make Acheron as strong as she is. Acheron being able to clear trash mobs makes her invaluable for speeding the bullshit moments. This is 100% true. However, you know who's also really good at just clearing from stage 1 of the game to end game with like, honestly, you don't even need investment in the character. You just need to give her the free shit the game gives you. Zila. And I know how you feel about Zila, Sarah, but because I've done this twice now, I'm telling you, Zila is one. If you were to look at a character that carries you through the game from the start of the story to where we are now, Zila is top 3. The resurgence ability is too broken. And then everything that you get beyond that point to build up the rest of the team or help her, great. Clara, another amazing character. If you get a standard character and you end up pulling Clara, beautiful. Beautiful. Thought you were gonna say Firefly? Nah. Firefly's okay, but I don't know if I'd say Firefly is like, maybe. Because because you're missing too much, right? Firefly, you're missing May, you're missing HMC until like halfway through the game. Actually, not even halfway, like 60% through the game, you're missing HMC. So it's really hard to see what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to recommend certain characters. HMC you get after Coco. How? Really? You're correcting me, because I thought we didn't get HMC until, what did we just do? Pinnaconey, right? We just did Pinnaconey. Oh, they give it to you. Okay, so I didn't know that. That's on me then. I didn't know that. Getting it from the events tab. Okay, so you get HMC. You're missing May, but you can't get Eidolons. That's kind of nasty, bro. That's kind of nasty. Well, there we are, you know? And yeah, Lucid, exactly. There needs to be context behind you why you're telling people to pull these characters and what kind of characters they should be getting in the first place. Or teams. But I think overall, and this is what I was going to say about Zenless, and this isn't mostly my opinion, but like it got put into my head and then I studied and I watched and I observed and I agree with it now. Star Rail is the same way. I'm not going to say that people don't know how to play Star Rail because Star Rail is easy. I'm going to say that people don't know how to manipulate the game mechanics in Star Rail. People don't understand the it's not even high level. I don't want to call it like high level gameplay with Star Rail, right? Or like pro Star Rail competitor. Like it's not that. There are newer players who go through the story. The tutorial teaches you, hey, break the enemy's toughness, get free damage. Break the enemy's toughness, enemy not have turn, do damage. The enemy doesn't, or the game doesn't teach you about action values in the same way that how we understand action values. The game doesn't teach you about speed the same way that we understand speed. The game doesn't teach you team building the same way that we understand team building. It doesn't teach you like certain characters' kits and how you can abuse or manipulate that. There's a lot that goes into what Star Rail has from a depth perspective that would highly value a new player, or like I said, a player who is new, but they're learning and they're going through the game. And this isn't so much to say like, oh, if you had all this knowledge, you could easily clear MOC and Pure Fiction and whatever else. It's more so that if you have all this knowledge, you can make these sound decisions on your own, and you don't have to worry about like, hey, Mr. Creator, what do I do here? Hey, Mr. Person in Discord or Mrs. Person in Discord, what do I do here? I'm stuck. I'm confused. I don't understand this. Well, why would I do this? And you can start mixing and matching. There's a lot of beauty in Star Rail and like what you can do from a team perspective and like building things character wise. Like we talk about Winset a lot of the times. Now I think people are looking at the how do you pronounce it? The L set, Lakusha, something like that. It's a planar ornament set. People are talking about that, you know, and it's good. So it's like there's a lot of creativity you can do with that if you understand how to do it, what you're doing, what to manipulate, all that kind of stuff. Another thing to talk about, the difficulty in Star Rail. I don't think that it's, y'all know me on Powercreep. My opinion's been changed on it. I've said this weeks ago. However, my definition of Powercreep, or rather my perspective on Powercreep hasn't changed. My admittance to Powercreep has changed. Let me explain. I can agree with you guys that Powercreep is in the game. I don't agree with you guys that Powercreep is detrimental to the game. I don't think that Powercreep is in such a way destroying Star Rail or ruining the essence of the game. I do think that the Powercreep that does exist in Star Rail is specifically through bad enemy design, or rather bad game design. Inflating enemies' HP, inflating their defense values, how much damage they do, that's bad. And because they're doing that, because the dev team is taking that approach, now they have to make characters in order to sell the character, right? They have to make these characters inherently stronger. It's not bad game design. It's we can go with that. Selective game design. They have to make these characters stronger. And the devs understand this. I can't obviously tell you guys like how I know some of these things when I have these conversations, but I have conversations with, you know, some of the folks that may or may not be at Hoyo. Because that's, creators have that opportunity, right? If you have an opportunity to do that as a creator, some creators, I'm sure other people can either own up to this or not, but we can be asked like, hey, how do you feel about this patch? How do you feel about this character? You know, what do you think about this? What can we change about that? We get asked questions as creators, especially when we're like super into the game, and we give feedback and we have it opens the door for a conversation, right? So some things I know that you guys may or may not know directly from the dev's mouth. It's okay. What I'm mentioning here is that when it comes to the game, they are very well aware that there is a difference or a subdivision, a subsection between players that understand more of the game's knowledge versus the average or casual player that doesn't understand more of that knowledge. And it's not that they're trying to separate these audiences, right? Like they're not trying to be like, oh, we only care about the casuals, or we only care about the pro players. I don't know what I'm going to call them, like high level players, whatever. They're not trying to do that. They're trying to find a balance. The problem is, in order to attract the casual player, you have to reel them in. That's where we get stuff like Fei Xiao, right? Because inherently Fei Xiao by herself is not strong. Okay, let me take that back. Not that she's not strong. Fei Xiao isn't busted. She's not broken. By herself, she's not a broken character. In a team, she's a broken character. That's what I'm trying to say. Whereas, I'm going to mention Zila again. Zila as a character is broken. Zila in a team is not broken, right? There's a clear difference between, like, if you were to look at a single character's kit, disregard everything about the game, right? Only the game's basic mechanics. And you look at each kit, one of these kits is broken by themselves. One of these kits is broken in a team. This is where the difference in player skill comes into play. Someone that understands more of the game's knowledge can make Zila broken, i.e. the Zila mains. Someone that doesn't understand that, but they understand enough about the game's mechanics to be able to pilot, this is where Fei Xiao comes into play. And now if you want a middle ground, the good middle ground is Acheron. I know Acheron is like top 2, but what I say middle ground, Acheron E0 S1 or E0 S0. Acheron E0 S0 is predominantly, what do y'all call it? Not great. E0 S0 needs Jiao Show. There we go. Okay. So the difference between someone who understands the game knowledge versus someone who's just kind of playing the game would be like and I'm gonna throw her out here real quick. Moon can pilot an E0 S0 Acheron fairly well in order to get whatever cycle clear she's trying to get. Now, obviously, within reason, of course, I'm not gonna say like E0 S0 is pulling, you know, 0 cycles out of their ass and everything. But what I mean by that is if Moon was dedicated to making the E0 S0 work and she wanted to get no less than like a 1 cycle, right? She's able to pull that off by understanding the game's formulas, speed values, action values, whatever. She'll go the extra mile and do the extra work. The average player is not doing that, which is why they believe Acheron bad, Acheron no good, Acheron fell off, whatever. And that's just not the case. So it makes it harder to balance out what's going on with the game. So I don't know. It's one of those things where like you obviously want everyone to be able to be like, all right, I understand the game. I understand this about the game, right? Like I can learn that on the game. You want players to be able to do that, but you don't want it to be so sweaty that you have to do it, right? That's why I'm like, it's such a weird, it's a weird way to balance it out. Some enemy designs are fucking fantastic. And unfortunately, they're all bosses that we just don't get to face anymore. Swarm Bug or the Swarm King, that's a great boss design. Great enemy design. That's a good way to, what up, NG? How you doing? The Swarm King is a good way to implement difficulty in the game without a fuck ton of HP inflation. Aventurine, we can all agree on that. Aventurine is one of the best boss designs in Star Rail because he forces you to play his game or beat him. That's his whole gimmick, right? Gamble. Yo, roll the dice. Roll the dice, baby. Aventurine is the worst boss. No, he's not. Aventurine is the worst boss to a number of people because they don't want to fight it. That's why he's the worst boss. He's not the worst boss based on game design. Put it this way. Okay, if I'm Batman and you're the Riddler, right? Are you a great villain because you allow me to beat you? Are you a great villain because you make it hard for me to beat you? Aventurine is kind of Cancer. That you're not answering. You're not answering the question, bro. You're not answering the question. Like you guys are basing these things off of personal feelings. Like it's not, you're not talking about the design of the enemy. You're talking about whether or not you like fighting it. He has too much. There's no RNG involved. Okay, not no RNG. Too much RNG is the incorrect statement. There is RNG involved, but in order to beat Aventurine, you have to learn how to manipulate his RNG. That's why I say it's a gamble. It's a gamble. But if you learn how to fight the gamble, you're good. That's the whole reason I'm saying he's one of, if not the best boss design in the game. He forces you to play his game or beat him. There's no in between. There's no in between. It's either I win or you win. That's it. As a villain, as an enemy, as a boss, I win or you win, because the boss's job is not to allow you to win. Having an easy AI, having a bullshit AI, whatever, that lets you win, sure, cook, right? Shit happens. It's kind of like if I were to take it back to Pokemon, okay? Pokemon, the reason why, as much as I love Gold and Silver, I love Gen 2. All the Kanto gym leaders are too easy. Horrible gym leader designs, horrible boss designs. But then you get to Red. And Red's whole thing in Pokemon is I'm better than you. You can't beat me. When you fight Red, his title, Red the Undefeated. All right, post editing EO here. Chat corrected me while we were on stream, but Aggie took it out of the edit. It's okay. Just want to let you guys know Red's title is not Red the Undefeated. It's actually Red the Champion, Red the Trainer, Red the Silent, or something like that. And what I'm thinking of is Red from Sigma Suit Red, specifically from Pokemon Masters or the manga. And then there's a Masters anime series, something like that. It's short. Anyway, point being is that Red is the GOAT. All right, read the manga. You're not supposed to win. Now, obviously, because the game is Pokemon and like you got to progress, you have to win. But to Red in the game world, Red the Undefeated. I personally don't like restrictive team dependent bosses in a gacha game. Personally. You see that word there? Personally. We're arguing whether or not you guys like it or not. We're not arguing based on the design of the character. I think that's like, we're losing the plot here. We're not arguing whether or not you like it. I'm arguing that it's good boss design. It's a fucking boss, like Kefka from Final Fantasy VI. You're not supposed to beat him. He has a bunch of fucked up gimmicks in his kit so that he wins. He cheats. He literally in the game, he cheats. It's programmed, it's designed for him to cheat, and you have to outplay him. He's a boss. He's the #1 villain. He's designed to kick your ass. You're not supposed to win. What are we doing? If soul bosses were restrictive, you wouldn't see club only runs. Now, how do they do the club only runs? How do they do that, Sarah? With skills. How do you get the skills? You have to learn how to manipulate the game. You have to learn the game's mechanics and abuse them in your favor, right? Because somebody with skills in Elden Ring, that doesn't mean they can do an all naked run, no hit. These are things that you have to practice. Okay, so the same thing applies to the adventuring boss. Let me read what Vantage says. I'll go a step further. Objectively, it's bad design to have a boss that requires a specific section of characters to make the boss doable, or you lose in a game that doesn't give you the limited character every patch. Then how can you expect players to keep up and keep the boss beatable? So I think the difference here is whether or not we're including cycles. So if we're talking about just a standard cycle clear, which is like what, 5 cycles, because 5 per side, you can clear Adventuring in 5 cycles without having the crazy cracked limited characters that would have released during his banner. That isn't stopping you from being able to do that. Now, can you do it with every character? No, but I'm not arguing if you can do it with every character, because it's a gacha game at the end of the day. So I can't make an argument in a gacha. There's not a single game that I can make that argument for except maybe Genshin Impact. And that's because like the whole, we don't want anxiety, what, like they purposely went out of their way and they fucked up the original 4 stars, but whatever. Not even Genshin. Well, then there you go. I can't make the argument. It's a gacha game. Their whole design is give me money by character. So if that's their goal, that's their goal. I can't fight the fight with what's going on. You could be adventuring with Luca and Serval. Well, there you go too. Those are 4 stars. And Serval is one you get for free. Like, it's not that you can't do it. It's that it's not easy, and it shouldn't be easy. If you're playing with the lesser value or the lesser character, why the fuck would it be easy? After watching PvP with Adventuring, that's PvP. It's hard. You not only did you guys already set up specific rules for PvP, not only did y'all cuck each other because someone's banning something and someone's sniping the other character from somebody else, but now you're fighting one of the hardest bosses in the game. You're setting yourself up. You're literally setting yourself up. What are we doing? We're not, that's what I'm saying. We're not arguing on design anymore. We're arguing on whether or not you guys like the fight. It's a bad boss fight because it's not easy. It's a bad boss fight because I have to fight his game. I can't play my way, so it's a bad boss fight. That's what y'all are arguing right now. We can't do that. Hule is a little easier than Adventuring, but then if you don't understand speed, oh man, why? I literally watched a random, I don't want to say his name, but he is a fighting game player. But he was playing Star Rail. He plays all the Hoyo games. He was playing Star Rail. He was fighting Hule, and he understands RPG mechanics, so he wasn't tripping, but he didn't understand Hule. He's like, why is Hule like doing a thing and then taking immediate turns? Like, how do I stop this? And obviously I'm not going to backseat, but his chat was like, yo, break him. Just break Hule. You have to break Hule. But no one's saying when to break Hule. Like, right, you got to break him at a specific time. Hey, man, let that motherfucker take his turn. Then break him in between the turns so he doesn't get the turn. No one's saying that. How to beat Hule. Just keep, hey, man, keep swinging. Eventually it's going to work. Fuck it. There you go. And it is what it is. Hule has mechanics attached to him, too, that you have to learn. My entire point about bringing all this up wasn't to argue about whether or not Adventuring was a good boss design, even though he is. My entire point was to say that instead of them inflating the HP, the attack, the defense, whatever, of these bosses, these characters, they could just make good boss designs or just make good enemy designs, and that would be it. The way that you increase difficulty in Star Rail isn't through HP. Perfect example of this. How we're arguing about Adventuring right now, okay? What's an easy boss in the game? Fucking Coco, I don't know. Let's just say Coco is an easy boss, okay? Japard is an easy boss, but he has a ton of HP. There's a fuck ton of defense values, okay? That doesn't make him a good boss. Oh man, this is perfect. This is great difficulty right here. No, it's not. You just took the old boss and inflated his HP. Japard's the easiest boss. All right, let's go with Japard. Japard. Not hard at all. What do the devs think is making Japard hard? Let's increase the difficulty of the game. We're going to take Japard's HP from 1.3 million to 9.7. Still the same mechanics. You still defeat him the same way, but now when he pops his shield, baby, he gets an extra summon. Ooh! 2. Now, when he pops his shield, baby, and the extra summons on the field, he gets 2 shields, 200% instead of 100%. That's crazy, right? Yeah, we cooked. It's not good. It's not good. Make better designs. That's it. Make better enemy designs, bro. You're done. You're chilling. If anything, yeah, the apocalyptic part, double them up. Fuck it. Hey, man, if you want to increase difficulty, start putting Coco next to Japar. Japar gives her the shield. She summons fucking the 2 giant ice pillars, and you got to find a way to clear the whole thing before you get blown the fuck up. Start putting ultimate attacks in the game because it's difficult. It forces you to change the way you play the game. But no, so much easier to just give us 3 million HP on a boss with the same mechanics. This is so hard. Wow. Point being, it was Mind Advantage's fault. No, I like when you guys contest me and talk about these things. I think it is your fault that I lost my train of thought when I was talking about whatever it is, but the conversation itself wasn't bad. I don't dislike that we had that conversation because I do think it's important to bring that kind of stuff up, that the good boss designs in the game are what should be focused on, not so much inflating the HP of the enemies. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, I saw it. Apparently they're increasing the HP again. The mobs are getting over 1 million HP now. That shouldn't be a thing. We should have never gotten to a point in Star Rail where mobs is getting over 1 million HP. Like, no, then why? Whose idea was that? For what? Like, why would you do so? Hey, bro, we got to increase the difficulty because we made all the characters too strong. Whose fault is that? Take the shit away. What do? Players aren't pulling on our rerun banners. How do we make them pull on rerun banners? Let's make new planar ornaments. Let's make new light cones. But let's disguise the light cone as somebody else's signature light cone. And then we'll say that this buffs up the older characters. Let's make a brand new character. Let's hype it up. And then it's a limited character, right, guys? Hear me out. I'm cooking. Dev team, I'm cooking right now, okay? Let's make this limited character, all right? We're gonna name him a day after the week. Let's call him Friday. We're gonna take this character named Friday, okay? Friday is going to be the savior of all of the older characters, okay? Friday is going to buff up every single character in the game. Like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Friday's gonna buff all the characters, so then it's now it's gonna be like, Ant, don't do it. Ant, please don't do this. I don't care who is doing the list. I don't care who has the final say. I don't care if you all agree or disagree. Please don't do this. I better not see Jingyuin jump up to tier 1 or 0.5 when Sunday gets here. Don't do it. Don't do it. Take Sunday and put him in tier 0. Put him in tier 0 and leave it the alone. Leave it please. It is that's King Yuin. Yo, listen, I want King Yuin to be on top 100%. All right. I don't think Sunday is bringing him to tier 0.5. What I think is going to happen is we're going to start seeing Sunday, King Yuin, Robin, no sustain. I don't Pela or some bullshit, right? And then everyone's going to run this team. And all of a sudden, bro, Jing Yuin's clearing. Oh my God. E0S0 Jing Yuin is destroying MOC right now. Oh, really? How's he doing that? Oh, well, you know, he's got the new version of the Powerpuff Girls, or he's got the Powerpuff Girls plus the Rowdy Rough Boys. And then he's got a broken light cone that they just gave him for free. It's ridiculous, dude. It's ridiculous. No, I'm not even trying to piss off no mains should be pissed off at what I'm saying right now, dude. I'm just trying to get like the whole message that it shouldn't jump up like that.